Welcome back to the class, everyone. We are back for another GC related video. We're actually back really quickly to talk about First Order TIE Pilot and his new Omicron. We're not going to go into detail about what it is and what it does. We made a whole video that you can check out that should be in the top hand corner, I think, over there. So go ahead and click on that if you want to see our general thoughts on the kit review. But really what I want this video to be about today is everything involving actually practically using this character in 3v3. 3v3 is really what's on the rise right now. We're right in the middle of it with this current GAC season. This video is coming a little bit late because a lot of us have applied this, and we are going to go over modding today. So really what I think is going to be valuable in this video currently for you is going to be the team comp, unless you're in a position where you're seeing this after the first few days and you can remod. But basically, yeah, we're going to be talking specifically about team comps, what the best modding is going to look like for those said team comps, and on top of that, maybe some idea of what can beat this coming in on offense, or maybe even what this can beat when it goes on offense. I will say before this, we're not going to spend too much time on those specific counters, just because as this is a new team, even if it's not good defensively, typically with new teams, we always want to push them on defense and kind of let our opponent figure out what it can and can't beat. Because when we get the report next week, in the next 2 weeks, and we see that it's beating, it's not going to beat this, but like beating Darth Revan, beating Jedi Knight Revan, all these things, you're like, okay, so it's probably safe to assume I can beat those things on offense. Anyways, let's go ahead and get down to it. So I'm not going to prescribe one team that is just going to be better than them all. That would make a very short video, and it's also not very helpful for anyone who has a different roster than I do. So that being said, this is a little awkward because First Order TIE Pilot, he actually needs 3 friends, which is why I'm going to say in the very beginning here that this is not the best 3v3 GAC Omicron in the world. It is going to be a little bit lacking. It is going to be significantly better in 5v5 because, as I said, First Order TIE Pilot wants 3 friends, and 3v3 by nature only lets him have 2 friends. So we're going to go into what these 3 types of friends look like and which ones you should be choosing for yourself. So first up, the first type of friend that First Order TIE Pilot needs is he needs a character, or he really wants a character. You can go without it, but I think it's dumb. You really need a character that is going to start off the battle with advantage. And you have 2 options to do this, which that's nice. It's always good to have variety. The first one is Phasma, who starts with the inner lead, and her lead is actually, this is still pretty good. As awkward as that is with First Order, with Hux having a really relevant lead and crew, and of course SLKR, this is still pretty darn good. You start with advantage for 2 turns. They can't be critically hit, so that's extra survivability on top of the max health you're gaining. You have a chance to assist, which is 60% because your whole team is going to be First Order, and you're constantly regaining that advantage, which is nice because of the 100 speed that comes with First Order TIE Pilot. So Phasma is very relevant here, and depending again on your roster, can be the right choice for you. The other option is Hux. So Hux, different from Phasma, it's not tied to his leadership. It is tied to his unique ability that he'll give it to the whole team as long as they're First Order. So either one of those options can work, and again, that'll depend a little bit on what you have. Hux does have, I think, a wider range of tools as a character than Phasma does. So Phasma is more of the budget character of these two, whereas Hux is more of the all-in type of deal. As far as tanks go, you have 2 options as well between crew and First Order Stormtrooper. This is important because at the end of the day, First Order TIE Pilot is really stinking squishy. And on top of the fact that he's squishy, if he dies, the Omicron's gone. All those bonuses, again, we're not going to list them all, but all those bonuses are just right out the door. Everything that they were keeping in place is gone the second he's dead. So you kinda want to have a tank in there. So either one of these options, again, similar with the last combo, Faust is very so much the budget option, whereas crew is the more expensive. On top of, being a tank and soaking up hits and whatnot, he has a 2-turn stun, which is very useful in 3v3. And as well, he's immune to max health damage. So he has a little bit more versatility than Faust, although Faust is still a very good tank. So either one of those, First Order TIE Pilot would love to have. And the last category is damage. All 3 of these characters here, they can supply a decent amount of damage. We're not really going to go into specifics. We'll get more into specifics on what each of them can do when we go to team comps. They all have something to offer. First Order Executioner here, he really likes to have his max health increase so that he can do more damage based on that, which is pretty cool. our not first order, but our Sith trooper here, he has a way to cleanse, which is something the rest of the team doesn't have, at least for the whole team. And he puts it back advantage, which gets you your speed back for that, which is also very cool. And then Xylo's, he's really good. So constantly spamming the turn meter to the whole team, including first order TIE pilot, is also going to constantly spam foresight. Fox can kind of do this too with how his unique works. But yeah, I think the two of them end up being really, really, really good for that reason. So you can kind of mix and match depending on your roster, depending on the teams you're comfortable with, but you really should be aiming, basically what you don't want to do is have two from any of these categories. You just want to take maybe one from here, or obviously, it's 3v3, you can't take one from all of them, but maybe one from here, or one from here, and one from here. Like those are just kind of what you have to deal with. And we're going to go over, I think, some of the actual practical options of what you can use. So first off, and just for full clarity here, or I don't know what to call that, but full disclosure, that's the word I wanted. This is the team I'm going to run. This is the best, I think, for my roster. It is the most balanced. I think it is going to still be pretty good, but at the same time, it lets me run a crew Fox team. It lets me run a Hux first order stormtrooper team. It lets me run SOKR on his own team. This one I really like. So again, we're not going to go over Phasma again because we already did that. But she has a lot of things to add to this. And one of the things that I like, and I guess we'll touch on modding a little bit for her, is if you can get her to 100% potency, which is nice because she also gets 20% from her lead, that is really stinking good because she opens up with putting speed down on everyone. So not only are you starting with 100 speed and you're going right off the bat, if you can slow your enemy down, and then what ends up happening is our friend OG Kylo here, which again, if we're going into modding, you actually want to mod him for speed. He doesn't need to be blazing fast, but most teams right now, like really endgame teams, are clocking out somewhere around 380 or so. So I have him at 275, so we'll get to 375, which won't stop everything, but it'll stop a good amount. And he always opens up with this, which is going to give 50% turn meter, because they're going to have advantage to the whole team. When he does that, they're also going to be cloaked in foresight. Then Phasma is going to get to go. She's going to put speed down on everyone. And then you're going to also get foresight because you increased his turn meter. So it's not an impenetrable team, but it's going to be really annoying. There are going to be things that are going to beat it. I think Bad Batch probably beats every single one of these, unfortunately. Han and Chewie are going to probably slaughter every single one of these, but trying to look at what the best thing we can do here is, I do still really like this. I think it's going to be pretty credible. It reminds me a lot of the Boba Zam Dengar comp we used last time, where they don't have a tank to really stop anything, but they can be really annoying in the first few minutes of the battle. So again, talking about modding, First Order TIE Pilot, we've actually modded him kind of funny. So we don't mod him for damage, we mod him for max health and then defense sets. And the reason behind this is we're trying to make him as tanky as possible, because we previously mentioned if he dies, all of this gone. All of this gone. So I really don't want a team to get in there, and let's say that I go with one of these other comps. So that was the first comp we're looking at. So that is the budget comp, and there's the expensive timeout. So if you go with this comp, one of the reasons why you want a lot of survivability here is because you don't want them to be able to kill your first order TIE pilot on AoEs. Because he has a really, especially if you're running him an R3 like you need for SLKR, I think he has only like 30 to 40k health. It's really small, and even the 50% max health that he gains on top of that, it's not really going to be enough to help him guard against a lot of stuff. But while we're at it here, this is the other option. Or one of the other options is I think it's just a really expensive timeout team. Like if you have a ton of stuff, you're not really using first order in a lot of other places, or maybe these are the only 3 first order characters you have geared up, this is going to cause a lot of timeouts because they're going to be starting at an absurd speed, because not only are you going to get the 100 speed from advantage, but you're going to get an extra 30 speed from crew lead. So 130 speed right out the gate. He's going to land a 2-turn stun on someone, and then they're pretty much just going to be able to continually loop back advantage, because every time you hit crew, he's going to be passing around advantage again. Hux is going to be constantly cleansing and refreshing crew's cooldowns, and your team might not die, but it's going to be stun locked for most of the battle, unless you have some other type of mechanic to get around that. So Another option, I don't think it's going to be super deadly on offense. I think you're really looking at timing someone out with that team. if anything, and it's going to be really hard to get to the first order type pilot because of how consistent Crew's taunt is. So that's the second option there. As far as modding goes for Crew and Hux, really not any different from how you would normally mod them. Crew, we have full defense sets with full health primaries here. We're not really looking at stopping any characters with true damage, so I still really like defense sets on him. And then the extra 50% health is going to be quite deadly. And then Hux is fine. I mean, if you want to get him a little faster, you can, but even this Hux, this isn't the fastest Hux in the world, and this is still what, like 420? Nice. 420 speed. That's going to be hard to beat him out the gate, especially because he's going to toss to Crew, and Crew's going to stun whoever would go first in any rate. So that's one option. There's another option. This one I call the lazy man, and the reason there really isn't a lot behind this team, but one of the most popular teams currently in GAC on defense for first order is to just have this team right here. And this is actually really annoying. This is a pretty good team. And if you just want to make it slightly better, you toss in first order TIE pilot. His basic actually does a decent amount of damage. That does pair well. That's always really paired well with Huxley. That's not new. And then you get to keep the advantage here. You get to be protected by first order stormtrooper. You should just have enough damage from how this team normally works to actually kill something. It just doesn't require a lot of thought. You rip your first order stormtrooper, you rip your Sith trooper out of there, you throw in first order TIE pilot, and you call it a day. Not a lot to write home about. The only thing that, and I'm not using this comp, but I would say about this, is typically Foss, we've been modding him for for protection. Like, I have a ton of protection on him. If you're gonna run this comp, and you really want to be serious about it, you want to remod him for health, because of the 50% extra bonus health in here. If you can get 6E health primaries on him, it's going to go farther than protection is going to go. So it's another option, especially because this team does have protection recovery, so that is irrelevant. So yeah, those are the first three. And then the very last one, I don't like this team at all. I like this team the least, but it's kind of interesting. And that is the health boys. And basically the concept behind this team is just to take advantage of the 50% extra health he's adding, both for the crew lead, for things we've already stated, but also Fox is pretty cool here because he's going to be adding in his own max health, but also he's also going to be gaining 10% turn meter. And that turn meter can help just kind of facilitate everything that's going to be going on. And you can, again, you're going to be able to take control of the team. I don't love it, but it's an okay option. It's an okay option. Again, if those are kind of the only ones you have geared, you want to see how your opponent will do against it on defense, go for it. I don't love it a lot because I still think most enemy teams, even like the lower tier enemy teams, are gonna be able to control you right out the gate without that extra 100 speed. So it's okay. The other three options are probably better. And again, this is the option that I'm going to be going with. As far as what counters this, what beats this, I really think Bad Batch still has their number. Even the really good expensive timeout team, Hux is going to swap over to Crew, and Crew he can stun Echo, which is nice, and then Tech cleanses him, so it's not so nice, or he can stun Tech, and then Echo still takes control. I don't know if it's a guaranteed win, but it sounds like it's going to do pretty stinking well. And then, yeah, just a lot of these aren't going to be able to kill Bad Batch before they take a turn, because that's going to be the big difference in 5v5. Like I said, first order TIE pilot, he's going to be able to have 4 friends rather, and they're going to be able to not only take control of the battle, but they're going to have a way to defend against you, and they're going to have a way to probably kill some of the characters before you even move, especially if you're using crew lead that is also going to be giving everyone turn meter. So that is the team, or those are the teams. These are the ideas. Let me know if you have any thoughts or questions or doubts or objections in the comments below. But as always, remember to like and subscribe and stay awesome.